Hello anybody and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Steve, and in the last episode we went about halfway through Gangplank Galleon, and in this episode I think we're going to be finishing it up. 2 more stages and a boss, I think that's pretty reasonable, so let's just get right into it. With a new type of level. This is Gangplank Galleon. Well, this is Lockjaws Locker. It is the first of a series of underwater levels, actually, in the game. And oh god, something feels weird here. Well, I think it'll be okay, whatever my concern is with. So, this is the first underwater level in the game. It's a lot different from what they did in Donkey Kong Country 1, in which the underwater levels were basically their entirely own sections. They were completely underwater from start to finish. This game was the first one in the series that kind of separated the two into different sections. And I'm going to actually have a little bit more to say on water levels a little bit later in the LP when it becomes relevant, but they're not going to be relevant yet. Underwater levels, these ship hold levels, do have a tendency to hide things. It has a bad habit of having secrets where you have to just kind of swim through boxes, so that's what I'm doing right here. Because there's always a few I tend to miss in going through these levels, and because it's kind of hard to figure out where they are. The tells for the boxes that you can go through is never really easy, per se. And why should it be? Because you're just melding through boxes. Monkeys with box melding powers. This is a dumb line of thought. Oh god. And that flotsam killed me. I think it's a flotsam. I'm not sure what else it would be. So yeah, the ship hold levels... Oh! That was unthreatening. The ship hold levels tend to be... What am I trying to say here? They tend to hide their secrets fairly well. This is Enguarde, by the way. He is he's competing for Best Animal Buddy in the Donkey Kong Country series next to Rambi. He's the most reliable. He makes the underwater levels a lot more manageable than if you hadn't had him, and he's just generally very useful. And here we have a first secret. I almost missed this. There are generally banana tells of where the boxes might lead you, but without those, you're pretty helpless to find out where the secret paths are going to be. So, like Rambi, Enguarde has a charge, and with that he will slam through the box and go into the secret bonus zone. It's exciting! So find the token is generally the easiest of the tasks that you will have before you in these bonus challenges, because you just kind of have to get to the end. And in this one, I think the hint actually is that the bananas will lead you to dead ends, so you don't want to go where the bananas are. And there are more than one ways. This maze isn't too hard because, well, it's early enough in the game that it would be kind of rude if they did that. So that's appreciated. Interestingly, the bonus rooms also in this game, aside from actually being worth something with their creme coins, they do more than the first game did. Because the first game usually just confined them to a single screen in an enclosed room, and the tasks were... Although they had more varied tasks, I guess you could say, within the same general themes, like bop enemies on the head, or just hit these glowing tiles over your head. I don't know how I would defend it, or how I would explain it. They just felt a lot more confined in the first game, and that they just did a lot more with it in the first game, and just giving it a purpose. And I know I talked about this in the first episode a little bit, but I like the bonus rooms a lot more in this game, and the fact that you can do them over again after you failed at them is better. Although it makes sense that you can't redo them in the first game, because you could get lives from them, and then you could get them infinitely, and that would be silly and dumb, and we got another Enguarde here. After we just lost him for some reason. With another secret path down here with lots of coins. But yeah, I guess... different design philosophy means different standards. First game, it makes sense for them to not let you do the bonus rooms over again. This game, it's entirely fantastic and appreciated that they let you do these again. Because if they didn't, it would be a lot more painful, especially with bonus rooms that are towards the end of levels. Now, because I restarted my game, that reset my count of banana coins and lives. So that is one of the bigger challenges of this game, is if it's easier to get farther in longer runs, and that's how you get the DK coin, by the way. That's why I quieted up there for a moment, because you need to know that's there, so that's a little crappy, but whatever. But yeah, the thing about this game is you're going to get farther if you do it all in one sitting, because you'll have your coins for save spots and your lives that will help you get a lot of tries on those later levels that are very likely to take your lives. Now, did I get all the... Was there only one creme coin in that level, or did I get 2? Or was there only one? Well, in any case, I'm just gonna get myself a coin and watch Diddy rap. You did this, Rare. I didn't do this. You did this. Oh, I guess that was everything in that level. So here we have another monkey dude that we are gonna see. This is Swanky's bonus Bonanza. Give them a big hand, folks. Good evening. I'm Swanky Kong, and you're tonight's contestants on my Bonanza. It's easy to play. Just pick a game, and you're away. So, Swanky's Bonanza is just an opportunity mostly to get more lives, and he can be useful later on. I generally don't use him because the form of his puzzles are that he will... Oh, he asked what his name was. He does these quizzes. Wonky. Stinky. And when you answer his questions, you answer 3, and he'll give you lives, depending on the difficulty. And early on, these are easy enough, but harder quizzes cost more money, but give you more lives, of course. What is the first enemy that you see in the game? A furry rat, a scaly crocodile, and I'm glad that they don't actually ask you for the names of the enemies in this one. And I think that the first enemy that we saw in this game was a furry rat. And then, if you get one of these questions wrong, you fail the quiz. What is the name of the area? Gangway Garbage. Gangplank Galleon. And that gets us our first life. However, these quizzes tend to be focusing on little attention to detail, like how many things there were in a place, what was the first thing you saw somewhere, so these can actually be really hard for entirely unfair reasons. I'm going to be doing the rest of these just because, what button do you press to run? And then there's meta stuff, and that is the Y button. Name of the first level in the game? Pirate Picnic. Some of these are really amusing, and they are worth checking out, because Corporal K. Reap, Captain K. Captain Crap. That's Rare sneaking one under the radar because, well, Cruel, K. Rule, Crap, Captain Crap. Rare has this habit of sneaking stuff into their games, and they're kind of great about it, and I kind of love them for it. Yeah, they did do well. And last one, and then I'm not going to do these ever again. Yeah, because they can be a great opportunity for lives, but I don't want to overdo these, and these could take up a lot of time. How many windows? And this is the kind of difficulty they have in this game once you get here. By which I mean the harder quizzes are just unfair with like this stupid attention to detail. Oh. And when you fail, that's it. And then let's try 4. What's the name of the first rigging level? Which I think is just Brain Mayhem. And the first level of these, blah blah blah. See, background object. So the third challenge usually isn't very worth it relative to the amount of difficulty that there is. It's not a gun. I think it's a sword. Nope. And I'm out of money, so I have to leave the studio. Until the next time, here on Swanky's Bonus Bonanza. Swanky's kind of a creep. Not gonna lie. So for the last level in this world, we are going to be going back to a rigging level. And we're going to be riding a new animal buddy that was actually introduced in this game, Rattly the Snake, and he jumps really high. He's actually possibly my favorite animal buddy anyway in this game, because I like games that let you jump high. They're always a lot of fun. And if you lose him, by the way, they have hooks with which you can navigate the terrain, but he's just fun, and his superpower is if you hold down the A button, he can jump super high. And that'll be relevant a little later in the level. But yeah, he's probably my favorite animal buddy, and he's exclusive to this Donkey Kong Country. This is his only game he appears in. But he's probably my favorite, at least, and he does have a few key moments in the game. So there's a banana up there, so you might be thinking there's probably something up here, and you'd be right. Use the powers of the animal buddies to your advantage. Explore the full extent of their abilities. Find out how far you can go with them. Now this was destroy the baddies, and this isn't too hard. You just kill these dragonflies. New enemy type, by the way. And you get your coin. Don't worry, these will probably get harder eventually. They will. Although later on, even as the levels get more difficult, sometimes the coin challenges actually become a relief and challenge. They become breather moments, and they become a break in difficulty. Hello, Clomp. Goodbye, Clomp. However, with animal buddies, you can't pick up treasure chests, which is just fine because I don't really need one. Something I'd note about the rigging and the ship, something I'd like to note about the rigging levels and the ship levels is just how huge they are. I mean, is that supposed to be, I know it's just a video game, but should that be representative of maybe these are just tiny chimps running around on this giant, massive ship? Isn't that something neat to think about? No? Okay. So we can just climb up more of this in-air riggings. Okay, yeah, it's just a video game, whatever. And just keep jumping for treasure. Now, I like these rigging levels, I do, but they're not my favorite level type. They're kind of drab and murky, and it's rainy and it's atmospheric. They have a really good track, though. They have a really good peaceful track, and I really like that. Now, there's no necessary hint here, but, like, there's nothing obvious. Nothing obvious, no banana, but if you jump here, there's a hook there, and that's... Your hint is supposed to be the dragonflies, I think, and it just gives you a hookup. But you just gotta jump around in this game. You gotta experiment. You can't really just run through it and expect the game to give you your stuff for you. Of course, Donkey Kong Country has always kind of been like that. And of course, we don't want to get hit because dragonflies will kill us. And that brings us up to 10 Krem coins. That's pretty good. I think that might be all there is in this world. I think World 1 might have a deficiency of Krem coins. Zingers, of course, are always dangerous Donkey Kong enemies. They are basically your obstacle enemy. They will generally just exist to give you an obstacle. Was that my first time getting hit this level? Maybe. That brings us up to 5 DK coins. Every world has, I think, 5 or 6 DK coins. I think it's 5, but I'm not sure if the first world is kind of an outlier and only has 5 levels, or if they all have 5 levels. I'm not sure. I'm just gonna go with my gut, and I'm gonna aim for that G. Alright. And there we go. Cog. I didn't get a life, but I got a cog. Good enough. And that clears up Gangplank Galleon. There's only one more thing left to explore before we go on to the boss, and that's Funky's Flights 2. In the first game, Funky would give you flights around the island. In this game, he serves the same purpose, except he charges you now. Looking good, dudes. I'm Funky the Main Monkey, and my new Funky's Flights can take you anywhere on Crocodile Isle, provided you've already checked it out, of course. Well, what use are you, then? Cruise on over to the barrel, man, and ride the skies, dude. Funky is probably the best Kong after Cranky. Like, not even joking there. I mean, his 90s surfer attitude is just perfect, and with his plane... If you hire his plane, cool, she's all your dudes, catch you later. You can travel around the island. Of course, this is completely useless if you use it in just the first world. I know why it's there, because if you do need to leave the world without fighting the boss, you have to use the plane, and that's later on, but still, you use it the first time and you're kind of trapped here and you're short 2 coins as a result. Great plane, Funky Kong. Can't just fly to the top of the island. Of course, it's a video game, so whatever. I won't get hung up on details like that. I like the detail, though, that it looks like his head is placed over Donkey Kong Island in the background. And I like that they just have Donkey Kong Island in the background in general from the first game. That was the map from the first game, and it's way in the distance to show you what you are leaving behind in your journey. Whatever. Also, this is good music. It's boss time. We are going up to Krow's Nest. Remember that crow's nest joke I made in the last episode? No? Whatever. This is Krow, in case the name of the level wasn't obvious. His battle strategy is pretty clear. I'm not sure what... He's a Neki. Nekis were common enemies in the first game, and he's a giant Neki. But he's not like the lame Nekis from the first game. He's got a couple coins up here. Dixie got hit, and she got hurt. And that was my fault, because you can't really blame video game characters for your actions. If you jump on the eggs, you can bring them down a little sooner, and then you pelt Neki with them. I think Neki is a she, because eggs. But video games have this habit of giving male personalities eggs. I mean, it could be an adopting father. Rare has done this before, or rather, it has done it later. Also, this is Rare messing with the status quo. And what do I mean by that? Is if you hit Neki 3 times, he isn't dead yet. They did this in the first game, too. 3 is not the magic number. In this game, it is instead... Well, it depends on the boss, actually. And we got hit by an egg and died. Oops. Now, the nice thing about boss is that they just give you the other monkey right to begin with, which is nice because without them, these levels are really hard, and that should have bounced the egg down. However, as Dixie is also the better jumper in this game, or at least she has the better hang time, she is the cheap mode, as Cranky said. She is also better at throwing things. However, she holds them over her head, whereas Diddy Kong holds them in front of himself. So Diddy Kong kind of purposes his carrying as a shield in front of him, whereas Dixie Kong is better at hitting things overhead without necessarily having to try. However, and she does have that wind-up where she throws it behind her head and throws it forward, so maybe hers is not as good as Diddy Kong's. I remember in Donkey Kong Country 1 at least, I would usually use Diddy Kong to throw barrels because, or at least hold the barrel in front of him like a shield. That was just so useful. And there aren't as many hazards above you as there are in front of you. However, oh god. And apparently that didn't count because we got hit, but, well, we can get this. 2 more hits isn't too difficult. And our egg exploded. This is the easiest boss in the game, and I'm just making a complete ass of myself. And we just have 1 more hit this time. Also, a departure from the first game is that in the boss levels, you go into aesthetics based off of the actual levels, whereas in the first game, you just fought in giant mountains of bananas. However, I think I've talked enough about this boss, and bosses in general, and I just had my ending completely ruined by that egg falling on my head, but that's okay, because Krow has a heart attack and dies. We play guitar on the top of the ship, and we leave Gangplank Galleon behind. We have conquered Gangplank Galleon. We have defeated Krow, we have gotten all of the DK coins and Creme coins, and we have gone on to Crocodile Cauldron. When we start the ascent to the actual Crocodile Isle. Gangplank Galleon was just kind of the intro. And I guess that actually kind of wraps up this episode now that we've finished up the first world. And in the next episode, we're going to be going on to Crocodile Isle proper and going into the mouth of the crocodile skull and bringing us into Crocodile Cauldron. Wah! If you want to see more, I hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye.